There we go.
You ready? Let's do it. Hello and welcome. Happy March 4th. I hope everybody is doing fantastic. Put in the chat, where are you calling in from? Is this your first webinar with us? Have you been here a while? How'd you hear about us? Let's get the chat fired up. My name is Chuck Holmes. I am coming at you from Homosassa, Florida, small town north of Tampa, about 1 hour. We are famous for manatees. And what we're going to do tonight, we're going to do our team monthly mastermind, where we're going to do some recognition, some product training, some business training. We've got some announcements, good to know info. So let's get into it. Real quick disclaimer, we do this every time we do a meeting, but individual results will vary. We're all independent associates, not corporate employees or owners, and any product we discuss is not designed to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. Pretty simple. This is our agenda. What we're going to cover. Tonight's call should take about 40 minutes, maybe 45 at the most. It's going to be action-packed. So I hope you have a pen and paper, an open mind, and you're ready to learn. Our next team webinar is going to be on April 1st. We do these the first Wednesday of every month, which just happens to be April 1st, April Fool's Day next month. I hope you will join us then, just like you are tonight. That takes us to our announcements, and I'm going to turn it over to the triple, quadruple, diamond, international, emerald, ruby presidential ambassador, Landee Martin. Landee, what's up?
Woo, I love it. Keep it coming. All right, you guys, updates. We have revamped the Colostrum 6-page. We're focusing more on why we are the one and only best colostrum company out there. Before, it's like educating on colostrum, but not so much why our colostrum is the best. So we're working on that. And so be sure and go to your site, check that out. Kelly Reese and the coaches on our side of the company, that would be Randall's side, we are going to start hosting a Tuesday night weekly opportunity and product call for our team. So just stay tuned for that. We're probably going to start that in mid-March. Also, we have a new compliance slide presentation. If anybody wants to share that with their team or anything like that, we do have that. I shared it in the Anovite Ambassadors group. I also pinned it in the chat and pinned it to, all right, let me remove, there we go. And we pinned it in the chat as well, so, and in the group. So we also have added some pro tips to the prospector on the UHB and the UTB campaigns. So those are the boxes and the campaigns we have in the prospector. So be sure and check those out, guys. The prospector is so good. Be sure and utilize it. Also, we have a new video for contacting health professionals. If you'd like to check that out, go to simplesuccessteam.com. That is our team website that Randall and Kelly started. And also, we have the cruise coming up. Hey, Kylie, good to see you on. Happy you're on. 2027 cruise, if you go to, I think it's the barefootcruiseclub.com, we have the information on that there, but I believe it's a Norwegian cruise, and I don't have a lot of information on it yet, or where it's, all about it, but yeah. Okay, that's all I got.
Well, thank you, Landee. I appreciate it. I'm trying to admit people as you do that out of the waiting room. So, Barefoot Cruise Club, the next one will be next February 5th through the 12th. So you can go to the corporate site or the website and learn more about it. I hope you will consider that. Team overview. We joined Anovite. It's been almost 2 years. So it's in May, it'll be 2 years. But as of this morning, we had 1,307 associates, 2,976 customers, 4,283 total team members, and a gain of 115 over last month. So great growth. Everybody's doing a really good job. It's a team sport, and the goal is 5,000 people by our 2-year anniversary here, which is about 3 months, 2.5, 3 months away. So we're right on track. That takes us to our recognition. And before we do the shout outs, I'm just going to quickly go through the Wall of Fame. These are just a good chunk, hopefully everybody, or at least most of the people who've ranked up at least one time or another in our team. And look at all these smiling, handsome, and beautiful faces. There's a lot of them. That's why I go kind of quick. But everybody's smiling. Everybody looks happy.
That's a good problem to have when you have so many rank ups that you just have to keep going.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yay.
I want to give everybody love.
Go team.
Go team. And the only thing better than hitting a big rank in a company is having people on your team hit a bigger rank than you in your team. It's very motivating, and that's how you build a long-term business. You have people who are successful. So Nobody achieved success all by themselves. Nobody on this wall of fame achieved 100% of their success just by themselves. It's a team sport, so just make sure you remember that. Stay humble, stay grateful, be a good team player, but also be a good leader too. This is our directors club. I'm not even sure if this is accurate anymore, but I think it's at least 95% accurate. We've had 17 people hit director or higher since we joined, and the goal is 30 by May. We're at this point, we're probably going to come out at about 20 or 21, and that's okay. But big shout out to Landee, Kaylee, Michelle, Amy, Sue, Nicole, Charity, Joe, Julie, Dr. Ivy, Kathy, Holly, Lee, Get Healthy and Young, Wendy Sanders, and Myra on hitting director and above. Awesome sauce.
We need to add Mel Shaw to that list because he's a
You know
regional
what?
national.
Mel, if I plugged in upline and sponsor, I'm going to add you to the next one, Melvin. So got it. But great job, everybody. That takes us to our shout out corner. So I want to bounce it back to you, Landee. Go right ahead.
Well, I am just so proud of this team. And, my inbox is full every day with people bringing in new customers. And I can't remember everybody, but just the last couple of days, Carrie Wiley, I don't know if she's on this call. Janet's had some new customers I know coming in. Everybody who stays plugged in, gets on the calls, gets on the Power 30s. I just want to give a big shout out to y'all. Always, Kaylee Ray's always crushing it, bringing people in. Amy Turk, Sue McLeod, Michelle Carroll, all my leaders, Nikki Hodges. You guys are amazing and just blessed to be here working with you guys.
And while we're at it, Landee, what are maybe 2 or 3 qualities that those people all have in common that are helping them do a good job?
I think consistency. Okay, I have to say that first, consistency, because that beats everything. That beats looks, it beats talent. I mean, if you're just consistent, you're going to enroll people consistently. So, and I think too, just kind of staying plugged in, whether even if you're not on every call, you're kind of plugged in. You're plugged into the team shout outs, you're plugged into the chat. You're commenting, you're supporting your other teammates, because we can't ever get what we don't give away first. And so the ones I see succeeding are the ones out there commenting, helping others, boosting others up, all of that. So, I just think that just having that positive mindset and being supportive of your cohorts.
Absolutely. And Mr. Melvin Shaw, anyone you want to give a shout out to, sir? He might be muted. Hold on here.
He's
Yes, I want to give a shout out to every single person that's on this call because that's what it's all about. You got to stay locked in. You got to stay on track. You got to stay involved, and you got to be persistent. So, and my shout out is to you, Chuck, for these wonderful meetings you put on every month, and also to Landee Martin and those. The training that she has every single Tuesday and Thursday. And I advise everybody to jump on that. She does a great job.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Melvin. I appreciate that. That takes us to our training. And what we're going to start with is our product training with the one and only, already introduced but reintroduced, Presidential Diamond, Ruby, Quadruple Platinum, International Director, Landee Martin. Landee, how you doing? Long time.
They're going to be so tired of hearing about me, but I love it. I'll eat it up. All right, you guys. Oops, sorry. I don't know what I just did. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're going to talk about our gut biome, our GB6. Why is it different? What makes it stand out? So everybody has heard nowadays that our digestive system has a second brain, the enteric nervous system. This contains over 100 million nerve cells lining our digestive tract, and it communicates directly with your central nervous system. Isn't God amazing? I mean, the way our bodies work, it blows my mind. He blows my mind. So when your gut is out of balance, basically it can affect your mood, your stress response, your immune health, your energy levels, and your mental clarity. So if your gut is off, basically everything feels off. And anybody who's ever dealt with gut issues knows this. So what makes us different? It's not just a probiotic, okay? GB6 is not just a probiotic. It is a comprehensive gut-brain formula. So it's going to support your gut immune function, your gut flora balance, your gut barrier, lining, integrity, healthy stress response, positive mood, and just overall brain health. At the core is our beloved colostrum 6, as we have in all of our products. We also have marine fucoidan, pre, post, and probiotics, restorative peptides, and plant-based fiber. A lot of people don't even know what all's in this GB6. It's quite amazing. That's why our chiropractors love it, and a lot of our naturopaths love this product. So let's talk for a second about marine algae fucoidan. This is sourced from the pristine waters and standardized to 85% pure fucoidan. This increases beneficial bacteria. It helps maintain healthy mucosal layers of your GI tract and provides microbiome diversity. So this ingredient helps nourish and protect the gut lining. We also have our lab certified 6-hour colostrum, the only one in the world that's actually verified certified to be 6 hours, be real colostrum. That's why it's so fluffy and wonderful. And it contains immunoglobulins, passive antibodies, growth factors, and repair supporting peptides, over 3,000 peptides in our colostrum. Now, this is going to support healthy gut tissue, barrier integrity, and immune resilience. So colostrum is providing that nutritional and immune support compounds that are going to help maintain that strong gut lining. We also have plant-based beta-glucan fiber in here. Now, this is a plant-based fiber that feeds beneficial bacteria. What does that do? Supports microbiome balance, healthy digestion, gets rid of bloat, gives you diversity in your gut flora, okay? So adding good bacteria is not enough. You have to feed that bacteria, and that's what we get in GB6. We also have our gut restorative peptides, proline-rich peptides, polypeptides, PRP. This is basically the building blocks of, these are the builds, sorry, I had to let somebody in. Building blocks in your GI tract. Occasional digestive discomfort, this is going to help with all that. It's going to help with inflammation in the gut and just support the gut for overall balance. Pre, pro, postbiotic. This is a multibiotic formula that promotes microbiome diversity, beneficial bacteria growth, gut barrier integrity, balancing your digestive environment. So the prebiotics feed the good bacteria. The probiotics are the beneficial bacteria, and your postbiotics are beneficial byproducts. So this is a full spectrum product. A lot of people aren't getting this in their whatever they're taking. So this is who this is going to be great for, okay? It's going to help with mood. It's going to help with stress. All of the things that affect the mind because they're so connected. So anybody that you know that is bloated, they're having digestive issues, stress-related gut discomfort, mood fluctuations, brain fog, or just need general immune support, they're going to be a great prospect for this. And it tastes great, guys. You just open it up. You take it like a pixie stick. You take it once in the morning and once at night. People love it. And that's all I got, Chuck.
Awesome. Great training. And thanks as always, Landee. We appreciate it. That takes us, before we get into this week's training, just real quick, getting started steps. If you're brand new, I recommend you follow these steps. If you are not brand new and you're looking to restart your business, follow these steps. If you have new team members coming on, most importantly, make sure they talk with one of the income coaches so that they can get started right. But it's a lot better to start right than it is to start over. These are the company income coaches and specialty coaches. Within our team, we have Landee and we have John. They're in our plugged in upline, but you can connect with any of these high-speed, well-trained coaches who are knowledgeable and very helpful, very good at what they do, and they're free. I don't know of any company in the whole industry that offers free coaches for people that want to help you succeed, that are successful themselves, and they're willing to go the extra mile to help you. So if you have not done so, make sure you at least do your initial call with one of the coaches. This is the company training modules. I think of this as Anovite University in the back office. They're video training modules that will teach you the basics of building a business. Go through each 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times until you feel comfortable about it. Before you ask your sponsor a million questions, make sure you go through the training first. I encourage your new people to do the same thing as well. These in the back office are your websites, and the ones you see here are mine. It just has my number, but you'd simply replace my number with your number. And those are all the different websites. When you log in to your Anovite dashboard, your back office, this is on the center of your screen, right in the middle. So if you're looking for a website to share with someone, just make sure you send them something that is relative to what you're talking about. If you're talking about weight loss, as an example, send them to the weight loss sample. If you're talking about the opportunity, send them the opportunity link. So just make sure the link matches whatever it is that you're talking about. And that takes us to this month's training, which is tax tips for MLM reps. It's really for any small business owner, whether you own a stay-at-home daycare, whether you own an Anovite business, or maybe you do something else out of your home. So I do have to just say as a disclaimer, I'm not a CPA. I love, if I was going to have a regular job, I would be a tax guy. I love doing taxes. It's like putting a puzzle together. I know most people dread it. Most people fear it. I find it quite fascinating. I wish we didn't have to pay taxes, but it's reality. We all have to do it. And my goal tonight, it's not to tell you just what you can and can't deduct or to have you fill out your return. It's to give you the 30,000 foot and the detailed information about what you need to be successful. And here's the truth. All of us should have a goal to minimize our taxes as much as legally possible. That means you don't cheat, but you never cheat. IRS has a lot more CPAs working for them than we do for us. I would not ever recommend you do that. But I do recommend that you educate yourself and that you deduct everything that you legally can and you minimize your tax bill as much as possible. Let's just start with this quote. It's income tax time again, Americans. Time to gather up those receipts, get out those tax forms, sharpen that pencil, and stab yourself in the aorta. Yeah, that's about right. I mean, that's how most people dread it. What I found is a lot of people, when you have a regular job, you look forward to tax time because you typically get money back. Not always. When you have a business, you typically wait until on or about April 15th before you do your taxes, because if you did real good, you're probably going to owe money. My goal is to educate you so that you can have a successful business and also pay the least amount of taxes possible. So let's just start with the bottom line up front. The laws in America for taxes are written by politicians who are financed by rich people. Rich people want the politicians to create tax laws that benefit people who own a business. As a home business owner, we are now entitled to many, if not all, of those same tax advantages that a traditional business owner has, other than maybe someone who has a big corporation. But any other small business owner, we're now entitled to all those same legal tax deductions and incentives that they are. When you have a regular job, your taxes are taken out of your check and you live on what's left. When you have a business, it's the complete opposite. You make an income, you deduct all your legal expenses that you can, and then you live off what's left. So it's very interesting. You don't need to be a tax expert. I don't think anybody should be a tax expert and be able to tell you every line on every form, but you do have a responsibility to be a good steward of the money in your business and in your household. Everybody has that responsibility, I think. So you should have at least a basic understanding of what you need to do to be successful, to minimize your taxes, and to make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed come tax time. So the first thing I want to educate people about is a profit and loss statement. And this is just a very simple version of one I use for my own business. Mine's a little more complex because I have other income streams like eBay and all that. But this is, for someone who's in an Anovite, this is really all you need. If this is your only business, you want to have a profit and loss statement. And a profit and loss statement is simply a list of your income and your expenses broken down by month. Every successful business, if you go to your local grocery store, if you go to the car wash, if you go to the convenience store, I can guarantee you all of those businesses have a monthly profit and loss statement where they're tracking the income and the expenses in their business. And we should do the same thing as an MLM rep. And the great news is we don't really have a lot of expenses in most cases. What you see on this sheet are the most common expenses that I've seen people in our industry have over the past 20 years. You have any advertising you might do. That might be like a postcard. Maybe you buy a business card. Maybe you place an ad in a magazine or online. That would be part of your average. Maybe you do some flyers. Maybe you buy some leads. All that falls under advertising. Then you have your website fees. That would be like your monthly Anovite subscription. And maybe you also own a couple other websites that you run to grow your Anovite business. Maybe you have hosting. You could deduct any of that under website fees. I've got advertising twice. You've got your cell phone. You can prorate your cell phone. For example, I do 50% of my cell phone is for my business. 50% is for personal use. Pretty cool. You've got your internet expense. I do the same thing. 50% for personal use, 50% for business. That's your home internet. You've got any events that you go to. That would include the food at the event, the travel to the event, the lodging for the event, the car for the event. That's all under travel expenses. You can legally deduct all that. Any office supplies you might have, like photocopy paper, maybe toner for your printer in your office. For most people, that's going to be probably about 90% of your expenses if this is the only type of business you own. And that's the beauty of our industry is we don't have a huge monthly overhead. Most of us have a monthly overhead of less than $100. If you don't count your products, it's probably closer to 40, 50, 60 bucks. I don't know of any other business model with that low of a monthly overhead, which is actually a great thing. So this is your profit and loss statement. So what I recommend you do is I recommend that it's going to be one of your homework assignments, but I recommend that you create a profit and loss statement for your business. And if you want mine on Excel, just email me after the thing, and I'll email you mine, and then you can just replace my name with your name and modify any categories that you need to. And I encourage you to start updating this once a month, and I'm going to show you how to do that in the next one. So the next part of taxes is bookkeeping. Okay. And now most people, when they think about taxes, they just think about going to the CPA or the Jackson Hewitt at Walmart or logging on to TurboTax and just doing your taxes. Most of your tax stuff is done before you get to that point because you have to have everything prepared. Whether you have a CPA, whether you do it yourself, you have to do all this stuff before you actually can even fill out your taxes. And I'm trying to educate you on how to do that the right way. So you need a simple bookkeeping system. I'm going to show you what I use. I've done this for 20 years. This is a basket. Okay. Cost me like $3.99, like $4. What I do, every receipt that I get for my business, any receipt, if I buy business cards, if I buy an ad, if I pay the monthly website, I print out that receipt and I throw it in my basket. You could use a shoebox. You could use a filing cabinet. You could have a drawer. You could have you could go to Dollar Tree and get one of those little plastic totes that are like $1 and put it in there. It doesn't really matter, but you need a designated spot to keep all your receipts. If you're real tech savvy, you can take a picture of them with your phone and save them on the cloud. Some people do that. I'm not that tech savvy, but if you are, that's a great option as well. But you got to have your receipts in one place. And you want to get in the habit of whenever you get a receipt, making sure you put it in that designated space. Because here's why. When you lose a receipt, you are throwing money in the garbage can. Let me give you an example. If you're in a 20% tax bracket, okay, which is very low, and you lose a $100 receipt, you just threw away $20 because you would have got $20 of that back. So every time you lose a receipt, you are just giving money away, you're throwing it away. So here's what I tell you. If you don't want to save your receipts, just send me the money. I can think of all kinds of great things to do with it rather than give it to the government. The Chuck Holmes Fund, because I don't think anybody should just throw away money. Number two, each month on the first of the month, this is all I do. It's very simple. Every month my bookkeeping is maybe 15 to 20 minutes a month. Each month I take out my basket. I take out all my receipts. I sit at my kitchen table or at my desk in my office. I pull up this form right here that you see right in front of you. Add up the totals for my receipts by category, and I input it into this sheet. Now, what a lot of small business owners do, and my cousin's one of them as an example, and I've tried to get him to do this forever. He has a very big, very successful business. He just throws all his receipt in one box and takes them to the CPA at the end of the year. He doesn't break it down by month. He doesn't add it up. And the problem with doing that, if you're waiting till tax time to do this, you don't really know where your business stands. And I do believe we should all know where our business stands, at least on a month-to-month basis. hey, what kind of income do we have coming in? What kind of expenses do we have going out? What can we do to grow our income? What can we do to minimize some of our expenses? If you're not tracking it on a consistent basis, and you're just doing it at the end of the year, you really probably wasted a lot of money that you could have saved. So you take out all your receipts, you organize them by category, you add them up, and then you update your profit and loss statement. Then what I simply do, I take all those receipts, I put them in like a manila folder, like a one with the little clip ties at the top, or a regular envelope, and then I write receipts, January 2026, and I stick it in a box. And now my basket is empty again. It's now March 2026, so I'm throwing all my March receipts in there. On April 1st, I'll empty out my basket. I'll repeat that same process and just do that each month of the year. And it's a very simple way to do your bookkeeping, and it works. Now, you can do a profit and loss statement. You can use Excel, which is probably the easiest way to do it. A lot of people like QuickBooks, which is great. I know my mom and dad use QuickBooks. There's other software like Sage. You can even buy like a bookkeeping journal and do it in what's called a general ledger. There's really not a right or wrong answer, but you need to find something that makes sense to you, that works for you, and that's easy. Because when it's easy, you'll probably do it. If it's difficult and confusing and overwhelming and very hard, you're probably not going to keep doing it. So that's the bookkeeping part of your business. One last thing to think about before we get into the tax part. Have you done this? Do you have a separate checking account for your Anovite business? Most people don't. I recommend that you do, and here's why. When you try to run a business out of your personal business account and you end up mixing all that money up, number one, it probably stresses your spouse out. They're like, where's all the money going? And number two, it's hard for you to track your business expenses when they're commingled with your home expenses. So you can go to your local bank, wherever you say you bank with, I don't know, Wells Fargo, whoever, and you have a personal account there. Just create a separate checking account for yourself there and run your business out of that. And the beauty of doing that, you have all of your business stuff in one account. It's very simple. It's very easy to track. If you get audited, you can, you don't have to separate all your business and personal finances. You have a separate account. Everything's in there. It's easy. And it does keep your spouse happy, keeps them off your back. And it's just a smart thing to run a business. Could you imagine like a Walmart running their business out of the manager's personal account? It just wouldn't work. Even a local store, a small store, it's not going to work. So this is going to keep your spouse happy. It's going to simplify your business, and it's going to have everything you need in one place. And a separate checking account is typically free, so it's not some big added expense. You can get a debit card for your business. You're going to get statements for it, and you can run it right out there. I'm going to go to the chat first just to make sure. There we go. Yeah, I dedicate. Yeah, this is good. Okay. Let's go next to the most common tax deductions. Okay, and we're gonna go to a form in a minute, and I'm gonna show you this, and we're gonna log out of this screen. I'm gonna take you to another form, but these are gonna be the most common expenses that probably everybody on this webinar has. There might be someone here you don't have, but most of us will have most of these expenses. Any advertising expense, once again, that's flyers, business cards, buying ads, buying leads, anything you do to promote your business, car magnet. Then you've got your vehicle mileage. Your mileage, what I recommend you do, okay? My mileage was my biggest expense for my business this year. And what I recommend you do is you get a mileage log. On Amazon, they're about $3, $3 to $5. And what you do every day when you get in your car, write down your starting mileage. When you get home at the end of the day, write down your ending mileage. It just takes the process of doing it for about a week or two until it becomes a habit. And then what happens is anytime you do have a business expense where you travel, I'll give you an example. Say you put together some samples and you had to drive to the post office to mail it to a prospect. You can now deduct that mileage that you drove to the post office and back to mail those samples. In 2026, mileage is 73 cents a mile. So say it's 20 miles round trip to the post office. That's $14.60 that comes off your income at the end of the year just because you kept a mileage log. This is probably the number one mistake I see people make is they don't keep a mileage log. And it's a huge, huge savings for you. Another one is events. Most people are going to go to some type of business event. What I try to do whenever my wife and I, many of you know I also own an antique business. Whenever I try to travel anywhere, I ask myself, what can I do to make at least a portion of this a business trip? So maybe we go to some antique stores, maybe we go to some auctions. Maybe when you travel to, say, Texas, as an example, you stop and you meet with a couple of your team members on one day, or you meet with a prospect another day. Well, now part of that trip is business travel. Maybe not the whole trip, but at least a part of it is. You can deduct some of that. Product samples. If you're spending any money on samples, you can deduct that 100%. Your cell phone, I just prorate mine 50%. And that's what my CPA had me do a long time ago. That's what I've done for probably 20 years. That's just internet, same thing. Internet in your house. Like we have Spectrum. I think it's $100 a month for my internet. I know some of you probably pay more than that, but half of that I get to deduct as a business expense. Business cards, any website fees that you pay with Anovite, office supplies, your home office, another big one. This saved us thousands of dollars this year. A home office is just basically where you have a designated space in your office where you run your business. So this is what I recommend you do. Even if you're in a small apartment, get a little table, put it in the corner of one of the bedrooms or one of the rooms, and run your Anovite business out of that space. And that way you can have a home office expense and deduct a portion of your rent or your mortgage, a portion of your insurance, a portion of your utilities, a portion of your landscaping, a portion of whatever you do for your house. You can now deduct a portion of that by having a home office. Tax preparation fees. We just did our taxes, our CPA. I actually probably enjoyed. I sat with him as he did it. I probably enjoyed it more than he did, just watching him do it. But you can deduct part of your tax preparation fees as an expense, which is great. If you have a virtual assistant helping you with some of your Anovite business or doing whatever, you can deduct that. So that's just a few of the common ones. Now, what I want to show you. No, bear with me. So here's a few tips. We'll do the Schedule C next. So when it comes to doing your taxes, you want to track your income and your expenses every month. This one of my biggest takeaways. Get that little basket or a little bookkeeping system that works for you. Once a month, set a timer for 15, 20 minutes, sit down at your kitchen table and just input all your income and your expenses, and do that each month so you can monitor your business on a month-to-month. Set up a simple bookkeeping system that works for you. I already shared what I do. That's what works for me. You may be more tech savvy and want to take a picture of everything, put it on the cloud, or use QuickBooks, whatever. You may just want to have a little journal that you use a pencil and keep a ledger and do that. That's fine too. Whatever works for you. You want to update it once a month minimum. And then what I recommend you do is I recommend you call a local CPA and ask them if you can hire them for 30 or 60 minutes. And pick their brain. Be prepared ahead of time. Any questions you might have about what you can and can't deduct. Do I need to restructure my business? Do I need to incorporate? How much, any questions or concerns you have, it'll be money well spent and it's tax deductible. As you start to make money, as your business grows and you start moving above those director ranks and you start to earn a significant income, you're going to want to start putting aside money for taxes each month. Something to think about. We'll cover more on that in a minute. You want to keep accurate records. Losing receipts, honestly, it is throwing money away. You don't do that. We get the mileage log. We talked about that. And set up your home office. We talked about that as well. So what you want to familiarize yourself with, most of us, which is 99.9% of the people. Let me do a share screen here. It's right. I think that's it. Yeah. Well, Landee, let me know. Can you see this form? Thumbs up. Okay. So what you see right here is right off the IRS website. You can see right in the bar right there, irs.gov. This is called a Schedule C. Whether you do your own taxes or you go to a Jackson Hewitt or do TurboTax, this is the form they're filling out for your business, unless you're a corporation. But most people doing MLM, we're what's called a sole proprietor, and we're not a corporation, so we're filling out a Schedule C with our taxes. And what this does is this is just simply a breakdown. You don't need to be an expert on this, but this is where I got all those expenses. But what this does is either the software you use or yourself or your CPA, they're going to fill out this form. They're going to enter in your Anovite income. They're going to enter in your expenses. And then at the end, any expenses you have here, at the end, it's going to determine Did you have a profit or loss? So what I recommend you do as a homework assignment, I recommend you just go to Google, type in Schedule C 1040. The IRS website should be the first one that comes right up. Click on that and just print off one of these and just familiarize yourself with a little bit. But it's just a good to know thing. So let's go back to the slide. How are we doing? Oh, we're good. Perfect on time. So once again, most of us were not incorporated. And when I say incorporated, that means you're either an S Corp or you're an LLC. Most people doing MLM, we do it under our own name. We file it with our individual taxes, and it's on a Schedule C. As you make a lot of money, like six figures, you may decide to form an S Corp or an LLC, but that's much more advanced, and that's not going to apply to most people. Your Schedule C, once again, it posts your income, your expenses, and then it determines what you're going to owe in taxes or what you're going to get back for a refund. So when it comes to filing your taxes, you can use a local CPA, which is always my recommended course of action, but not everybody wants to do that. Some people can do it right on TurboTax or TaxSlayer or Jackson Hewitt at your local Walmart. Do it yourself. You can do it directly on the IRS website. The reason I like doing a CPA is they know, especially if you're brand new, they know a lot of things that you can deduct that you might not know. So the small amount you're going to pay them with the amount of extra deductions they might help you get will more than pay for them. And plus, they're like a subject matter expert on taxes. And for the small amount, Rachel and I have a very large business, but if you have a small business, you're probably going to be able to get a CPA for $200 to $400 in that range, depending on where you live, for a simple small business tax form. And I know when you do TurboTax or a lot of these other ones, you're paying about the same amount of money. So it's not much more money, maybe a little bit more money, but you are rest assured you have someone who knows taxes inside and out doing your taxes. So these are just a couple of common mistakes that people make, at least that I've seen people make. The biggest one, not claiming every deduction. There are so many deductions that home business owners can have. And there are books about it. This one book is I think it's called something like 486 tax deductions. But there are tons of tax deductions that you can take. And every deduction you take, I'll make it real simple. Say you earn $10,000 with Anovite this year. You're not paying taxes on that $10,000. You're now subtracting all of the expenses that you have for your business, your home office, your mileage log, your advertising, anything that you did that's business related, and that's going to lower your business income, which is going to lower your taxes, which is great. Not educating yourself on taxes and how you can save money, that's a big mistake. Not hiring a tax professional. I wish I would have done this much sooner in my business career. I was kind of like a do-it-yourselfer, which is fine. It's fine if you really know what you're doing, but I found even if you know what you're doing, they know a lot more than we do about taxes. Mixing personal and business finance is another huge mistake, especially when you're first starting out and maybe you're already on a very limited income. Not keeping it separate is a big mistake. Misreporting income. Don't try to cheat the IRS. You ain't gonna win that. They got way too many people working for them. Just report all your legal income and report all your legal deductions, and you can't go wrong. And missing filing deadlines. You don't want to be late for your taxes to file. If you need to get an extension, get an extension. But April 15th, make sure you have your taxes done by then, so that you don't pay any fines or get in trouble. These are two helpful resources that I recommend. These are two good books. You can get them right on Amazon. One is the 2026 Small Business Taxes, good read. And then you've got the other one over here. Whoa, hold on. Can you still see my screen? Nope. I can't see it.
Yes, we see it.
Hold on. I did
It's
something.
the two books.
Yeah, it was. There we go. I don't know. It disappeared on my screen for a minute. So I would recommend these two books. And now right here is what I would recommend for homework for everybody. And if you've owned a business for a long time and you're much more advanced than someone who's new to owning a business, most MLM people, this is their first business. Not all of them, but most. So get those two books. Create a profit and loss statement. You can email me if you want. I'll email you a copy of my blank one. You can just, change it for you. Call around, find a local CPA or a tax person and do an initial consultation with them. Many of them will do it for free, the initial consultation. Get your questions answered, find out, you can even ask them, what questions should I be asking you? What do I need to know that I don't know about my small business? Remember, they eat, live, sleep, and breathe taxes. That's their thing, kind of like Anovite is our thing. So you want to definitely pick their brain. And then you want to set up a simple bookkeeping system for your business and have the discipline for 20, 30 minutes a month to keep everything updated. So in conclusion, unfortunately, taxes are a part of everyday life for every American. We're all gonna die and pay taxes. That's two guarantees in life. You don't have to be an expert or do everything yourself, nor should you be, but you do need to have at least a basic understanding about how everything works. Hire professionals whenever possible. And what are your thoughts, Landee? What would you like to add to this?
Well, phenomenal class, first of all, Chuck, and thank you so much for doing that. I was just going to throw in there that I really like Quicken for home and business, and you can set all that up. It's real user friendly. It is software. You put it on your computer, and you can actually enter your receipts, every few days or so. I just like keeping up with it. Every month I can go and look where I'm at for that month. So everybody just does it a little bit different. Remember, for your business use at home, I mean, if you're using any storage cabinet space to keep products on hand, like maybe you're a practitioner or whatever, and you have, a whole side of your kitchen that's being used for that, remember, you can write that off. And then I thought that people might have a question about other expenses. And so some things I include in that category is I put my leads there if I've ever bought any leads. You could also put that under ads, but I just put leads there. Any corporate training you've done or spent money on, any recognition or team gifts, trophies, presents, anything like that. And then samples to customers. And I think Chuck brought that one up. Also, outside labor. If you have kids in your home that clean your office, take out your trash, anything that you can pay them what's called outside labor. And, since they live in the home with you, they don't have to report taxes because it's not going to amount to a whole lot, but you can write that directly off your taxes. So that's another thing I do in, just under other expenses. So yeah, no, but otherwise, I mean, amazing. Great, great, great training, covered everything. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you, Landee. Melvin, anything you want to add to it? No? Okay. All right. So that takes us just to book of the week, and we're still right on time. Book of the month. This one of my favorite MLM books that most people have never heard of. It's called Best, Worst, and First. And they interview 75 basically $1 million earners, and they say, what's the best piece of advice, what's the worst piece of advice, and what's the first piece of advice that you've gotten and given. And you hear 75 different $1 million earners in the industry share their thoughts on that. It's fascinating. I highly recommend that book. You can get it on Amazon, and it's by Margie Aliprandi, who is also a $1 million earner in the industry. That takes us to closing thoughts. Back to international double, diamond, quadruple, emerald, platinum director Landee Martin.
Well, I guess I could have saved all that for the end, but yeah, thank you guys for showing up tonight for yourself, for your business. This really, really can put hundreds and even thousands back into your pocket as you progress as a business, successful network marketer. And, the more money you make and the more expenses you have for your travel and all of that. So just, thank you, Chuck, for doing this class. And I just think it provides so much value. And we're really lucky and blessed to have this, because not everybody does this. And Chuck, you've been doing this since I've been working with you. And I just think it's such a great service that you provide to us. So thank you. And I hope you guys are all going to save your receipts and put all this into practice.
Yeah, put that money back in your pocket.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Hope everybody has a great night.
Did you have
Thank
something
you.
else?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Chuck. We appreciate you. Bye, everybody. See you next time.